This is Fast Forward with Fe Husaint.
So we're back. Again, I wanted to talk to you about leadership versus being a leader versus being a boss.
Mm-hmm.
And in my recent article, I wrote about, anyone can be a boss, but to be a true leader takes skill. And it again, because we work in society where you report, you always have a reporting line, you always have a boss, right? And whether that boss is a really good leader, that's the tough conversation to have, because a lot of times they may not have the skill set to be a leader. They may be the boss, but doesn't mean that they have all the necessary skills to help with the team, their team, right? And there are a few key things here that I wrote in the article, is that bosses dictate versus leaders communicate. Bosses tend to criticize versus leaders would influence. And bosses sort of assign the task, and leaders encourage ownership, and sort of like, okay, I'm going to take this on, I'm going to work on this. And bosses sometimes, because they criticize, they may put you down, versus leaders, while yes, you make a mistake, they will lift you up and give you opportunities to learn and grow from there. So I do encourage a lot more people, managers within the organization, to be leaders more than bosses, and this really require a lot of skill set. How do you think anyone should go about being a good leader? What would be sort of first step in doing that?
It comes down to your mindset, I think. And if you create a mindset of, I want to be a leader, and I think leaders have a mindset where their job is, they are actually working for their team. So the team doesn't, I think like a manager or a boss thinks the team works for them. And I know you have this is one thing that I've definitely noticed about you, and you mentioned it earlier on, that you give, and like it's so important to you to have the 5 minutes, the catch ups, the time with your team at all levels of people who work for you. It could be seniors, it could be juniors, like you are always there. And that's really a part of what you see that your daily and weekly and monthly job description should be. Like, I need time for my people.
Yeah, I feel like as a leader, you're serving your
Yeah.
people. So it's you have to make sure that everybody is being taken care of, because they are doing the job.
Mhm.
And to me, if they are being taken care of, then that's a really good environment for good business. It's just good business to take care of your people.
Mhm.
So that has always been sort of, I mean, over the last year, I think I really sort of changed my mindset a little bit, because like you said, initially bosses or people think that they have people that is serving them, but actually it's the other way around.
It's the other
Right.
way around. And I think shifting to that mindset is going to allow you to see yourself differently. And actually, that you're at the bottom in some ways, like holding things up and supporting other people. And I think good leaders are, they want to create leaders underneath them, and that trickles down. And I think, working with other people, we've got this strategy where, I'm coaching the leader, but then they're doing the same thing to someone and then through that they will then do it to other people, and it's going down and down, and having having this mentality of serving each other, helping each other, coaching each other, pushing each other. You know, I love this phrase about our potential, because I think people quite often come to coaches to explore what their potential is, but actually you will never ever reach your full potential. None of your team will ever reach it, because you'll grow, because it goes every time you start to get closer to it, it actually moves further away. And so having this mindset of, um, and again, and I think coming back to psychology, we are all run by our ego, okay? We can't really, unless you're Buddha or someone sitting and meditating for hours every day, we have an ego, let's face it. And if you can understand, if you can understand this about people, you can get understand how to influence
Yeah.
the sort of things people want. People want people having conversations about them behind their back, saying like, gosh, they did a great job, or I really like that person, or this is what we want. We want people to gossip about behind our back, saying like, they're awesome, they did such a good job, they're really inspiring.
I'm sure there's a lot of that going on right now.
And this and kind of it people want to be recognized. They want to feel like they're doing a good job. They want to feel like they're contributing. What
Yeah,
people don't want to feel like is they are a set of tasks
yeah,
behind a keyboard.
exactly. Exactly. I completely agree. People want to feel they're valued, and that they matter. I think that's important. As a good leader will know that they acknowledge that every single member of their team matter and have value. And because of that, you then naturally trust them, right? And sort of respect them to do the job that they're hired to do, right? Instead of being micromanaging, or being like not trusting, and that's where the whole relationship dynamic between your supervisor or your bosses, right? And I think that that's important, right? Because you want to, I always say this because a lot of time, we, especially working from home, we spend so much of our time working. Like I would, like there is like a blurred line between your work and your life. And so you already know you're going to spend a lot of time working with your boss, working with your colleagues and the people that you work with. So it's important to make sure that you have a comfortable relationship, that you're not going to be stressed just talking to your boss, or you're not going to feel like every time you go to work it's like, oh, I'm going to be fearful of meeting somebody or talking to somebody. And having that really good relationship allows the team to perform better, because then naturally they just feel happier, right, working, and they feel the ownership. And I always imagine that the people that you hire are good at their job. Obviously that's why they hire. They want to do a good job, they want to be valued. And so I think it's time for bosses to really trust them and let them do the job, and have that really good relationship between them. So it's not like, oh, like shit, I have to call my boss, or my boss is calling me and I'm gonna freak out because something. So I feel like a good leader will have sort of a balance between that.
This is Fast Forward with Fe Husaint.
I love that you mentioned trust, and I think this can be an issue for managers coming up in the ranks. Actually, if you get to leadership level, it's generally because you're very, very, very good at what you do. And so there's this transition period. Now, some people do it really well, some people struggle with it, but it is letting go. And I think this is where the danger of micromanaging comes. You know how to do the job. You know it better than anyone else. This is why you've reached that level. And actually, the people below you, they are not at your level. They cannot do the job as well as you can. And so there is this section where you you are letting go to people who cannot do the job as well as you can, who do not have as much experience as you do. And that's really difficult.
You can't grow. I mean, I feel like this is me maybe 4 years ago. I can't let go of things. I'll be like, this is how I do things, and this is how you should do it. And I feel like if you do that every single project or every single work, people feel they're not valued. They feel like they cannot do the job. They feel no ownership. They're just gonna okay, I'm just gonna do the basic. I'm gonna give it to her anyway because she's gonna redo it, or she's gonna, and so that means that it's horrible for the mentality of this person that is supposed to be helping you, and you can't grow. You can't, if you want to grow, you have to teach them how to do it well. Teach in a way that is not condescending. Teach in a way that is inspiring and encouraging, but not, in a way that makes them feel small, or doesn't matter, right? And so I think that's very important for mid-level managers or managers to grow to the next, sort of level. And we have this in our rookie internship program, where we are not just focusing on just the interns itself, but also on the mid managers, allowing mid managers to experience managing someone else, because they're very good at their job. They are already sort of senior, or they're, about to go to the director level, but they're good at their job. Can they inspire somebody else? Can they delegate to somebody else? And can they ensure that that person do a good job? And that's always a challenge, because I know a lot of mid-level managers, where if an intern screwed up, they're like, it's fine, I'll do it, and that's not what you want. You want to make sure that you instill that to the interns, and you tell them this is how exactly you should do it, and why. I think it's always important to explain the reasoning, the rationale. Why is it not right? Why, so that they can understand and learn it, right? It's like, what is that saying? If you teach a somebody to fish, and then they can
Yeah,
feed the whole.
if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, he can feed his family for life. Absolutely.
Exactly, exactly. So I think that's really important to grow, right? As a leader, you are constantly growing, and yes, you, like you said, you're good at your job, but how can you try to impart that to others so they can be really good
Yeah.
at their job? And that's when you'll be completely successful, because you have a team of leaders who are successful, and they will also then hand it over to the next level and the next level, and so on and so forth.
So I have a funny story, and I think I've told this to you before, but there was a publisher, and this guy had written a manuscript, and he put it on the publisher's desk for the publisher
Right, right. You told
to
me, yes.
read it. And so the publisher takes it and then sends it back with a post-it note saying, "You can do better." So he sits down, he rewrites it, he comes back, and he gets the manuscript back again. This must have happened 5 times. And then on the fifth time, he goes to the table and he's like, "I cannot do any better. This is what I've got." And the publisher says, "I'm going to read it now." I've never read it, but I love this story because it really shows that people, it's a funny style of leadership, but I think there's something to that people have always got more. They can always do better. And you are there to not only to inspire people, but to push them, to show them that they've got that little bit more, or that they don't need you in every meeting, for example, or, and I think this is important as a leader. Is you're a little bit like a coach. Like, you need to push people, you need to show them what they are capable of, and you need to have conviction that that person can do it. Like, you must have that belief in you,
Yeah,
because if your words are different from what you really believe, people will pick up on that.
yeah,
So you have.
yeah, exactly. Has to be aligned, definitely. And I think that that's very important as a leader, that you follow through on what you say as well, and what you believe in. And I think a very strong inspiring leader, people will sort of follow you, and also sort of lead their team in the same sort of way of how they have been, following the leader that is above them as well, right? So I think it's always important to instill that being an inspired leader, and always trying to encourage people, and always trying to be positive even in difficult situations. And I know you know, again, like you said, we are all we have emotions, right? And so we do react to things. So when there are negative things sometimes we do feel you know, like negative when you don't win anything, or you know, you go into a pitch and you lost, or you still have to be positive in the way you deliver things, and not I mean, yeah, of course you'll say, okay, it's unfortunate, guys, it's sad that, you know, we didn't get. However, there, what are the learnings, what do we get out of things, how do you know, there's always another, you know, positive light. And so being that kind of leader inspire people to, you know, do better and don't think sort of negative and stuff like that. And that's sort of kind of culture we want to build in an organization, right?
Yeah,
um
and I think
yeah.
and this is something that we will do. Like, we're always coming back to, what can we learn from this? No matter what situation, no matter how big or small. And that being a collaborative thing as well. Like, what can the team learn about it? What can we share personally as leaders ourselves of what we've learned from it, and moving and always taking something positive or a learning. And I think this is the thing: human beings have an incredible capacity for getting through hard things,
Overcoming. Yeah,
overcoming
obstacles.
stuff. And it is our ability to perceive things, to get the good out of something bad that might have happened, and to grow and to learn and to evolve, are all things that are so within us and are so intrinsic to humans. And taking that and making that part of who you want to be as a leader. And I think, you know, also, just coming back to what we were saying earlier, know yourself and have confidence within yourself. Like, you know, if you've got stuff that's in the background, maybe you do have some doubts, maybe you do have a little bit of imposter syndrome, work on this stuff, because the more you can clear all of your own insecurities and your own stuff, we all have it. There's not one person that says they haven't got stuff. Work on this stuff. Do the personal stuff, the inside stuff. This will
Yeah.
make you a great leader, because you're clear to get out of your own head. And I think that's important. When we're not in our head, we can lead and inspire other people.
This is Fast Forward with Fe Husaint.
Thank you, Katie. That was very insightful. I think just to recap again what was discussed earlier. Number one is really self realization, is to be self aware of yourself and how you have been as a leader, how you have communicate with your team, how you have react to different situations, and only by really realizing how you yourself react to those things, you can then go into, okay, how do I better myself, how do I improve myself into being a better leader? Did I react correctly that time when I was, you know, blasting at this person? Was that the right thing to do versus, you know, how would I react better? Because the second thing that we learn here is, again, people when they react to different things, it's all about themselves, right? It's a reflection of themselves, so it's not about you. So if you realize that, when you realize that, you can then analyze that and see what is going on with that person, and then you can have empathy and have understanding and make you a better leader. I would say those are the two things that I would consider. And then, of course, having a coach, of course, you have to have the chemistry with the coach, and ensure that, you know, the coach is aligned with you to help you with your career goals as well. Thank you, Katie. Any last words?
Yeah, I think that all sounds perfect. And I would encourage everyone to, this is the biggest, most valuable investment with the biggest payoff, is when you invest in yourself. And so I would encourage everyone to do this stuff, the world would be a better place. That's that's for sure.
Yeah.
Pete, thank you so much. This has been a great conversation as always. I always have a blast with you, and thank you so much for having me.
What did you guys think of today's podcast? Let us know. Comment here or send us feedback at forwardgpc@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in and see you on the next Fast Forward with Fee. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram for more information. Bye.